Okay, so good morning everyone. So we are now with your introduction to zoology. So some of this are already discussed in your first face-to-face na met natin. Okay, I have to review first, so that is the reason why that our year module 2 will be discussing this coming Tuesday dahil ang ating laboratory first or laboratory 1 ay nagawa nyo na. The lab activity ay parang napakasimple lang. It is about the structure of the microscope. Okay, so let us first about the definition of this zoology. Okay. So when you say zoology class, it is about the branch of biology. Diba? Zoology is an animal structure. So it is about the animals, but this is a branch of biology. Why? Because when you say biology, it refers to a living organism. So animals, they are living organisms. But specifically when you say zoology, it is about the specialization of study is about the animals, the living organisms which are under the animals. So this field focuses on animal diversity. It is not about the humans, but when you say zoology, animal diversity. So when you say diversity, it is about the different living organisms. Okay, but they are under the animals. Okay, distribution and their behavior, which is about the behavior of these animals on how to adapt with the environment. Okay, on how they develop with regards with their behavior and the interaction in various ecosystems. So, if you remembered with your ecosystems in your STS, when you say ecosystems, it is either biotic or abiotics. So when you say biotics, these are living organisms, and then when you say abiotic, these are about the non-living. So there is an interaction in order to live these animals through the presence of your abiotic elements. So for example, the animals. So the animals, they live and they can survive because of the grass which are found along the land. Your land is an abiotic, but the plants and trees, they are under the biotic. So this is about the interaction in various ecosystems. It also studies the structure, development, and evolution of all animals. So, if you remembered, with the word evolution, di ba yun yung pag-ikot? So, like for example, the butterfly. Ano bang evolution? In order to live na magiging butterfly siya, muna siya, through the larvae, so and so. Diba? Bago siya maging butterfly. And that is what you call the evolution of animals. Structure, development. The terms is derived came from the word zoon, and then the animal means logos, which is the study of animals. We will call scientists studying, so yung mga nag-aaral ng zoology, they are called as zoologists. So what are the characteristics of animals? I have mentioned this already in our first meeting. So when you say animal cell, this is eukaryotes or eukaryotic. So you can use the word eukaryotic cell or eukaryotes. Pareho lang ng meaning yun, class ha? So this animal cell is under the eukaryotic, which means that there is a presence of nucleus. Okay, if you notice, this is your nucleus, this one is your endoplasmic reticulum, and this one, these are called as organelles. Diba, in your organization of life, your cell is made up of different types of organelles. So ito ay makikita in your cell para mabuo ang cell. So when you say animal cell under the eukaryotes, these are made of different organelles. Okay, ano yung mga organelles na yon? These are your mitochondria, your nucleus, your vacuole, your Golgi apparatus, your ribosome, so and so. Number 2, an animal cell or animal, a living organism which is animal. Number 2, they are heterotrophs. So when you say heterotrophs class, okay, when you say heterotrophs, they are not capable of manufacturing their own food. So, like for example, one of my examples earlier, so like for example, di ba, the animals that they are the mga grass-eating animals. Okay, like for example, here in the picture, the cow. Hindi sila mabubuhay pag wala silang pagkain mula sa another living organism. Say they live through or they feed through the presence of grass, the presence of trees, and that is what we call the animals are heterotrophs. Okay, they are not capable of manufacturing with their own food. Lack of cell wall. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo, class, that your animal cell is without the presence of cell wall. Meron nang silang cell membrane. Which is different from your plant cell. Your plant cell, okay, they are both, the plant cell and your eukaryotes, and your animals, they are both are eukaryotes. But the difference is that your animal without the presence of the cell wall, while your plants with the presence of the cell wall. Kung nakikita niyo yung, as I have said, the leaves, di ba mayroon silang shape dun sa gilid? That is what you call the cell wall. Okay? Wala yan yung animals. So, they are lack of cell wall. They are multicellular organism. So, when you say multicellular, multi means many. So, they are made up of many cells. Okay? So, yun yung animal cell. Okay? Properties of life. So, animals share the same characteristics or properties with other living being. Okay. So, the first one here, the properties of life, chemical uniqueness. So, ang living organisms or the animal cell or the animals, okay, they need macromolecules in order to live. In order to live, they need macromolecules. So, as I have said earlier, there are four macromolecules: the lipids, the proteins, nucleic acids, and then the carbohydrates. But these three, lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates, ay galing sa food na kinakain natin. Your nucleic acids ay hindi siya mula sa pagkain. Why? Because your nucleic acids are made up of your DNA and your RNA. Hindi ito makikita sa food na kinakain natin. Okay? So, mas malalim yan pag kayo ay nasa biochemistry na siya. Number 2 is about the complexity and hierarchical organization. So, in the hierarchy of life or the complexity of life, di ba, in the organization of life, so if you see in this, the organism here is the animal. Why? When you say organism, class, baka malilito. When you say organism, it is, like for example, the horse. The horse are made up of different organ systems. Okay, umpisa tayo dito. This is your cell. The cell is the basic unit of life. Kung sa living organism, this is the simplest. Okay? So, your cell is made up of different organelles. Diba yung mitochondria? Para mabuo ang cell, meron mo ng organelles. But we are focusing with the level of organization. So, here, your cell, which is the basic unit of life, they group together, okay? They fuse together, they go hand in hand. All these organelles, they have the same target, okay? And this same function to form a tissue. And these tissues, group of tissues, malalaman nyo yan with your organ systems. So, this group of tissues form in order to form an organ. And this group of organs, so for example, your blood vessels with your previous lesson during your high school, di ba, ang cardiovascular na organ system ay napuproduce or nakakontain from your blood vessels, and your heart. So, these organs group together in order to form an organ system. And this organ system, ilan yun? 11 organ systems. So, you have your cardiovascular, your respiratory, your digestive, all of this, they are present among living organisms in order to produce an organism. A whole. So, like for example, as humans, hindi tayo nabubuo kung wala tayong iba't ibang system sa katawan. And that is what you call the level of organization. Number 3, reproduction. So, living systems can reproduce or make a copy of themselves, either any of the two forms. Sabi niya dito, class, copy of themselves. Diba? With my previous example about the plant, ano yun? Pag nagputol ka ng puno or the stem, napapansin mo yung stem, pag nabubuo or maglalabas siya, the same pa rin yung structure, the same yung ang itsura. Why? Kasi that is under the asexual reproduction. That is under the mitosis. So how you differentiate your sexual reproduction and your asexual reproduction? With your asexual reproduction involves only one parent. Kaya nga pareho lang siya klase. Pareho yung kanyang anyo. Why? Kasi it is about one parent. But in sexual reproduction, it involves two parents. So meron silang sperm at meron silang egg. Hindi lamang siya nabubuo sa isa. Kaya nga, di ba, with the, iba ang mukha ng isa, iba ang mukha ng isa. Why? Kasi they are under the sexual reproduction. But when you say asexual, isa lang talaga, one parent. Okay, with your asexual, gametes are not produced. When you say gametes class, meron siyang sperm cell at meron siyang egg cell. Gametes are reproduced, which is the opposite of your asexual. No fertilization process. Diba yung with your previous lesson, when you say pag nagmet na ang yung egg at saka yung sperm, and during fertilization process, yun yung term nila, but in asexual, no fertilization. Kasi wala namang sperm and egg eh. At ang zygote formation ay nakikita lang along the sexual reproduction. Because after fertilization, zygote formation na bago ilagay sa womb. Among sa womb ang pagbubuntis. That is, under the sexual reproduction, there is a fertilization process and zygote formation. How about when you say asexual reproduction? Meiosis does not occur. Why? Because meiosis here is under the sexual reproduction. Okay? During sexual, meiosis occurs at the time of gamete formation. So, ano yung mga examples of asexual reproduction for animals? So, for example, meron kasi animals that they are under the asexual. So, di ba, ang one of the property or one of the characteristics of asexual is that same parent. Isa lang, one parent. So, for example, here, the starfish. Pag pinutol mo yung starfish na yan, okay, nagkakaroon siya, nagre-regenerate siya, nabubuo siya ulit. Okay? Or yung naputol ay bumuo ng isa pa. And that is what you call reproduce. But that is under the asexual reproduction. And this one, they are under the sexual reproduction ng chicken. Okay, meron kayong rooster at meron kayong hen. Meron siyang tatay at meron siyang nanay. Hindi nabubuo yung chicks pag wala ang parents. Okay, yun yung difference ha. Pag sinabing asexual, isa lang, isang parent, kaya nga same lang yung kayang identity. But when you say sexual reproduction, pareho, magkaiba. Kaya nga talaga nito ay 23%. Okay, ang possible na nanggaling na nakukuha ng anak sa kanyang mother or 23 chromosomes ang galing sa tatay. So about the seahorse, okay? I think I have mentioned about the seahorse during our first discussion. Plus ang seahorse kasi there is a gamete formation. So this is still sexual reproduction. Okay? Hindi ba hinuhulog nung female starfish ang kanyang egg cell. Okay? Yun ay, anong sabi dito? The males are the one who initiate courtship and the one who get pregnant. Okay? Ang female nagre-produce or mag-deposit ng kanilang egg along the pouch of the males. Okay? Tapos after 30 days, they hatch at magkakaroon na ng anak ang seahorse. Pero, ang female ang nagbibigay ng egg. Okay? So, para makapag-produce ng another seahorse. Number 4 is genetic program. Okay, so when you say genetic program, diba, that is about the genetic material. Okay, diba, ang living organisms are made up of macromolecules, and these three, they are under the food macromolecules, and then the other one is the nucleic acid. So, genetic program through the presence of these nucleic acids, which is the DNA is found. Okay, so in your not only your DNA but also your RNA along the nucleic acids which is found among living organisms. So when you say DNA, Okay, this is under the double helix. When you say RNA, this is a single helix. Diba naalala niyo with your biology, ladder siya. While the ribonucleic acid ay single lang siya. Okay, what are the nitrogenous bases which are present in your DNA? So these are your thymine, your adenine, your cytosine, and then the guanine. While in your ribonucleic acid or the RNA, instead of your thymine, there is a uracil. Okay, number 5 is what we call the metabolism. So when you say metabolism, these are living organisms which in order to maintain life, there is the process of your catabolism and your anabolism. Both of these, catabolism and anabolism, they are both types of metabolism. So ang metabolism class, it is not about the breaking down of food, but also the building up. Kumakain kasi kayo class. So pag kumain, building up. Pag kayo ay nagda-digest ng food, that is breaking down. Okay, it needs an ATP. Okay, in order for energy. If there is an energy released, okay, this ATP is converted into ADP. If there is building up, this ADP is converted into ATP. Okay, mas malalim ito pag kayo ay under na ng biochemistry. Or baka mamaya may lessons natin sa next. Differences between catabolism and anabolism. When you say catabolism, this is the breaking down of molecules. Yun ang tatandaan class sa kata means breaking down. So pag tayo ay there is a presence of molecules, okay? So ngunguyain natin yan, yung pagkain ng inunguya natin, there is a presence of breaking down. And that is what you call catabolism. When you say anabolism, this is the building up, or this is this is from your, which is opposite from your catabolism. Okay? So metabolic pathways, this one. So when you say anabolic, this is a building up. So from smaller particles plus energy in order to produce, in order to build or synthesize. Okay? So pag synthesize, pinagsama-sama sila to produce a large molecule. Okay? Which is opposite from your catabolism. So catabolism is the large particles. Pag siya ay nag-breaking down, in order to, and with the presence of energy, diba, your ATPs, through the presence of your ATPs, ito ay nagiging smaller particles. One of your examples of your catabolism is your cellular respiration, where your anabolism is the photosynthesis. Through the presence of sunlight, diba, it is necessary to produce in order to produce glucose at the end product. So, malalaman natin yan kasi mamaya, pag wala tayo dun sa topic, ay malilito lang ka tayo. But, when you say anabolism class, it is the smaller particles, they join together in order to produce a large molecule. When you say catabolism, this is a large molecules. Ito yung food na kinakain natin. Pag i-breaking down natin into smaller particles, that is what you call catabolism. Okay, number 6, development. All organisms pass through characteristic stages in their life cycle. Paano sila nade-develop? So, di ba, meron silang stages. So, pag sa human, so for example, di ba, fetus pa lang siya, paglabas niya, pag na-birth na siya, pag inilabas, hindi na siya fetus class, baby na ang tawag doon, or infant. Okay, so pinifeed ng parent or ng nag-aalaga hanggang siya ay mag-grow mula doon sa maraming a large group of bones. Okay, so they fuse, they join together at magiging 206 na. So that is what we call the development. Okay? This change or transformation from one stage to another is called metamorphosis. So pag may changes ang nagtatransform ang isang stage to another stage, that is what we call metamorphosis. So one of the examples here is the butterfly. So pag nangingitlog, this itlog ay converted into larva. Okay? And this larvae is converted into pupa para mag-form ng butterfly. And that is what you call the development. And the changes or the transformation from one stage to another, this is what you call the metamorphosis. Environmental interaction. So in order to survive in their habitat, diba? So for example, the snake. Okay, ang snake, pag nakakita ng frog, okay, Pag nakita ng frog, yun kasi ang kanyang food. In order to survive life, ang snake kailangan kumain ng another living organism. How about ang frog? Dahil alam niyang kaaway niya, yung snake, alam niyang kakainin siya in order to survive life. Anong gagawin niya? Tatakbo siya. Okay? The ability to respond is called the irritability, while the ability to withstand the changes in their environment and survive is called the adaptation. In order to adapt with the environment or in order to survive with the environment, ay kailangan silang gumawa. Okay? So, as I have explained earlier, it is about, ano ba yung sinabi ko, class? About the polar bears. Para makasurvive sila ang mga polar bears, ano ang kanilang ginagawa with the polar bears? Okay? So, through their fur, ay meron silang kakayanin nila yung lamig. Okay? Pag hindi na malamig ang isang lugar, lilipat sila in order to survive with the environment. In order to survive with their environment. Okay? So, for example, kailangan natin alagaan ang mga punong kahoy. Why? Because dyan nakatira ang ibang living organisms. So, dahil dyan sila nakatira, pag nagputol tayo ng punong kahoy, lilipat sila ng kanilang tahanan. Bakit pa sila magsistay dyan kung wala silang pagkain na kailangan nilang gagawin? What is adaptation? So, when you say adaptation, this is the process which enables organisms to adjust with the environment in order to survive. Okay. So, movements, living systems can move or transform from one place to another. So, di ba sabi ko, through the presence of this energy. If you don't have energy, diba? Pag ikaw ay matamlay at wala kang lakas, ano bang gagawin mo? Hindi ka makakilos. Ganun din sila. In order for them to move, transfer from living organisms from one place to another, they need an energy. And that is what we call movement. Okay? So, like for example, ang frog. Okay? Alam mo naman niyang kakainin siya ng snake. Ang gagawin niya, through the presence of that stimulus, hindi siya makakain ng snake. Okay, alam niya nakakainin siya ng snake eh. So, anong gagawin niya? Okay, tatakbo siya. Okay? So, that is what you call movement in order to survive or transform from one energy to another. So, that is the end of our